The recent unprecedented attacks by Hamas against Israel were the deadliest since Israel became a nation, and the global conflict has now become a powder keg. Some speculate World War III is here or close. Israel has always been under attack, and according to Bible prophecy, events in the last days, including the return of Jesus Christ, the judgment of God, and end times wars, would all revolve around Jerusalem and Israel. So Christians should be reminded to have a sense of urgency, to pray, understand the times, and be ready for what's coming. I'm David Fiorazzo, and this is Christ and Culture. According to the Washington Examiner, Iran wants all Arab and Islamic countries to unite against Israel in the wake of the Hamas terrorist attacks that ignited a war in Gaza. Now, the Bible warns about wars and rumors of wars, and since a coalition of Muslim nations forged an alliance against Israel many, many decades ago, the Middle East meltdown was set in motion. So how will this impact America remains to be seen. But we know this, we are living in prophetic times. This is not about Jews and Palestinians. This is about enemies of God, Jesus, and the biblical worldview. Hamas and Hezbollah, terrorist organizations, have publicly vowed for years that they will, quote, wipe Israel off the map. They will never stop trying. Franklin Graham said this when he responded immediately after the attacks, quote, "We just saw Hamas brutally murder 900 plus Israelis, most all civilians. If you want to know what else they're after, a Hamas commander made it clear. He said they want to kill every Jew and every Christian and take control of the entire 510 million square kilometers of planet Earth. If you think what is happening in Israel is limited to Israel, think again," end quote. Now, in recent years, it's been business as usual for much of the world, particularly in the West. But the Bible warned about a time when, talking about peace and safety, sudden destruction would come upon them, it says in 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3, "and they shall not escape." The unexpected nature of that day will be glorious to those who have confessed their sins and believe in Jesus, but tragic for unbelievers of all nations unless they know Christ, the Messiah, and are saved. So, have you put your hope in Him? His return is close, friends. More Bible prophecies will be fulfilled, perhaps soon. Some suggest, for example, that Psalm 83 is being played out before our eyes concerning Israel in these attacks. Check this out. It says, "O God, do not remain quiet. Do not be silent, and, O God, do not be still. For behold, your enemies make an uproar, and those who hate you have exalted themselves. They make shrewd plans against your people and conspire against your treasured ones. They have said, 'Come, and let us wipe them out as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more. For they have conspired together with one mind. Against you they make a covenant.'" That's Psalm 83, 1 through 5. Now, this is almost like reading a current news story when you read that psalm, which was, a couple thousand years ago. Isn't the Bible amazing when it comes to prophecy? God had and has blessed Israel and has done miraculous things throughout her history and throughout the centuries. Many have tried, however, minimizing, changing, or editing world history, particularly when it comes to Israel and the land. And so this is a good time for a very, very brief refresher. Let's go back to May 14, 1948. It was a remarkable day when the nation of Israel was born pretty much in one day, as prophesied in Isaiah 66, verse 8. Over 5 million Jews returned to Israel as predicted. The remnant was restored. You can look at Isaiah 11 and Ezekiel 37. For that, more information on that. Never before in world history had a people been dispersed and scattered among the nations of the earth, and then centuries later returned to their homeland, as Isaiah 43 says, from the north, south, east, and west. Now, this is all part of Bible prophecy. The city of Jerusalem had been destroyed, trampled underfoot by the Gentiles. You can look up Luke 21:24. That happened around AD 70, which Jesus predicted about 35 years earlier. The land was a desert and became uninhabited. Now, according to prophecies, the city of Jerusalem would be and was later rebuilt on its own ruins. You can see that in Jeremiah 30, verse 18, Zechariah 12, verse 6. And it was, of course, Israel was reestablished in 1948. Now, the Jewish people finally regained full control of the city during the Six-Day War in 1967. The next day, June 7 of that year, the Israeli army broke through and returned Jerusalem to the Jewish people for the first time in 1,897 years. Israel has been attacked many, many times and often outnumbered. And yet somehow this tiny nation the size of New Jersey has both survived and thrived. Now, they did it because of God, of course. God is sovereign. And at times, they did it with the help of allies, including the United States. Few would deny God had blessed America in the past, but differently from what happened in 48 with President Truman, what happened with Nixon in 73, and even President Trump, we have now turned our backs on God as a nation. And the Bible teaches that those who bless Israel will be blessed in Genesis 12:3, and that God will curse those who curse Israel. So it must be noted, and remember, the Biden administration or the Obama administration, they have both been the most anti-Israel, perhaps in our history, and have provided billions of dollars to Iran, a sworn enemy of Israel. So Israel is not just the center of the universe, but the center of attention, politically, spiritually, and geographically. So as Christians, how can we respond to recent events? Well, certainly not in silence. Believers can stand with Israel and should. And we should pray and ask God for protection for Israel and the people there. They need to be saved. The people need to hear the gospel. The Bible tells us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, Psalm 22:6, which at this point almost seems impossible, but God is bigger. So no matter what happens, no matter what man does, no matter the wars or catastrophic events, and no matter what this temporary world can throw at us or even throw at Israel, God is sovereign over all things. And as we know from Scripture, this includes all nations, and especially Israel. So it's not over, friends, but time is running out. Make sure you are right with the Lord and pray for the peace of Jerusalem. God bless you and keep speaking the truth about things that matter.